The Shut Your Mouth Lounge, now with a new format. So, we're still going to hit what's coming out on our channel. We're still going to plug our stuff. But the weekly kind of roundup of what we've been doing on the given week, that will be retired. At least for the moment, depending on how we feel about this format once we try it out. Instead, we are going to go ahead and hit a major topic each week. If there's something big in the news, that will be the major topic. But news has its ups and its downs. For instance, there's nothing really big in the news right now that any of us are interested in discussing. So instead, we will hit big topics, just what happened, whatever we happen to come up with. And we will get to that topic after we get our stuff in. So,
All
Pink.
right. Yay.
Oh, yeah, I guess I should say Pink and Addy are both here. Hey, Addy, say something. Always he does this.
Well,
Nearly
know for a
300
fact that
episodes.
I'm here. Addy's presence is a little unsure.
So, Pink, have you got anything coming out on your YouTube channel?
Of course I do. I'm gonna have. Let me remember if I've got anything coming out. Actually, I should definitely have the NXT Universe mode still coming out on a semi-regular basis. Some of that got delayed because I got sick as hell, and that's why I wasn't present last week, and it threw a massive monkey wrench into all my YouTube uploads because I was bedridden and dying. It was not fun.
Yeah, I was in a similar place just a couple weeks ago. I wasn't bedridden, but I couldn't talk, so.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I've got NXT coming out, and I'll be having more of that recorded eventually because now I'm not bedridden and I can talk. So that ball should get back on a roll. It'll be good, hopefully.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have some Dead by Daylight coming out. I think I've still got some of the content from when I recorded with Mike and you a week or two ago that has yet to come out. I think there's one other thing that I might have coming out. I think I still have what's it called? I think I still have an episode of Gladius that I forgot to put out, which I need to do. But aside from that, that should be everything, and I don't think I've got any more new series coming out. I might, as I choke on air, because I'm still a little bit sick, I might be having a episode or two of Stronghold Definitive Edition demo coming out, but we'll see. Well, it really depends on if I'm able to record that with OBS or not, because Stronghold is a series that I started a long ass time ago when I was using my laptop, and it recorded mostly alright on the laptop. And for some reason, when I swapped over to the computer, it had that issue where OBS would record it, but it records the audio on the game's end and my end, but for the video, it would just record the first initial frame and then nothing else. And I've tinkered with it many a time and still have yet to find out how to get it to not do that. So that's why that series never continued and why it got dropped, even though it was something I really wanted to do. But now that they've released a definitive edition demo, which is like an hour long, and it's great, I might do some little series on that until the release date on November 7th, several months from now. And then, like I was saying, if OBS works with it, that's something I'm going to definitely do in the future. So yeah, maybe keep an eye out for that, but depending on the software situation, don't get your hopes up too high.
Yes.
And that wraps up everything for my channel on my end.
Addy!
Well, not much work has gone into further developing the Street Fighter 6 review because I've been working on actually making a film this past week.
Yes. How was it?
I mean, the production of this movie was 2 days. 3 if you want to count script writing, but 2 days. And that's not just shooting it. I shot it in 1.5 day, and then I edited it in a half.
I see.
Once again, may I remind you, no fucking experience doing movies, no budget. So, you know,
Are you
there's.
sure this budget thing isn't just for jabronis, though?
I mean, on one hand, it could be. On the other, on the other, I'm actually being attacked right now.
Oh,
All right, take over while I go get help. I'll be back in like 20 minutes. I am being attacked.
fair enough.
Okay. Well, let's see. For my channel, let's see. Oh, I also have to pull up the group channel if Addie's going to be busy with something. So I'll do that real quick while I talk about. On my channel, you can generally expect Gladius and Conan Exiles multiplayer to keep on coming in. Anything else will be a surprise. There are some games I'm interested in doing by myself, and it's also who can tell what else we're going to play in multiplayer, right?
Right.
Because honestly, like right now, I think there's a distinct chance that Raft has been more or less preempted. That if Mike and me are ever online, we're going to hop into Conan instead. Just nature of the thing.
Yeah.
So expect a lot of Conan and a fair bit of Gladius in the coming week or two. I'm thinking about cooling off on Gladius after I wrap up the current Chaos playthrough, though, as I've never been a big Chaos guy, at least in 40k. Well, I've never been a big Chaos guy on either Warhammer setting, really. And I don't know, I just feel like I need a little bit of a break from Gladius if I want to keep enjoying it. I don't want to burn myself out on it.
Right.
All right. And on the group channel, the Devolution channel, there will be on the 14th, Monday, there will be Fire Pro Wrestling World, Part 16.
Oh, man.
On the 15th, Tuesday, Mike and Addy aggressively break Mortal Kombat 2.
Oh, no. I've heard stories. I've heard legends.
Yeah. For 3.5 hours they played, and the longer they played, the more the game just bugged out. And just did the strangest things. On the 16th, Wednesday, Dark Souls 2 Part 6. On the 17th, Thursday, a YouTube short.
Oh.
On the 18th, Friday, there will be Mortal Kombat 3. I believe that one is just me and Addy. I don't think we got Mike in for UMK3, though I do want to at some point, because that's a game I feel like he would really enjoy if he got to play it against people instead of the bots. Anyways, and on the 19th, Saturday, the date that we will be recording the next Shut Your Mouth Lounge, so that's why I'm going ahead and saying it, Street Fighter 6 Part 7.
Oh, man.
All right, I'm back. So,
that was the fastest 20 minutes of my life. You must use this power for good, Addy.
So the thing is, recently we've been having this trouble where wasps the size of my my pinky come in through the window, and I ain't fucking with that. Yeah,
That's not pleasant.
You ain't fucking with that, but they're fucking with you.
Yeah. So I had to go and get help to have it neutralized.
Help! Yeah, wasps are not great. They're I mean, obviously, I'd rather deal with a wasp than, let's say, a killer whale. But in terms of animals that you're going to have to actually deal with in your life, at least us as Americans and you as a European, wasps are one of the most unpleasant.
Yeah, I had to deal with a bat, and the bat was more pleasant.
Oh, bats are, well, the issue with bats is that if they bite you, you don't know.
Yeah. The issue with bats is if they bite you, you don't know, and the issue with bats over here is that they like getting into people's hairs and getting stuck there. Which the first one is less of a problem. It's unsettling, I'd assume, but it's the second part that's really makes it suck.
No, actually, the bite is way worse.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Bats, I
Carry rabies,
don't
yeah.
remember if it's. I don't. Are they like the possum where they carry it but they're immune to it?
I think so.
Because like possums are like horrible rabies fiends, but they're completely immune to it. Not like the notorious AIDS koala. But yeah, it's like it is explicitly a thing of if there is a bat in your house, you go into a clinic. Just simply. It is just that. You either do that or it's surprise rabies.
Yeah.
Right.
And rabies is a horrible death.
It's absolutely terrible.
If you do not get it checked out in 4 days, I believe, right?
It's a very short window.
Like once you get past like that 4-day date, like the doc can check you, but he's completely powerless to help you.
Yep. Once you've got rabies symptoms, that's it. You're done for.
Yeah, once it shows. So it really is get bit by an animal you don't know, you go get checked.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess to continue
Ain't
with
it fun?
yeah.
It's messed up, yo.
But yeah, so to continue the stuff with the shooting the film. Yeah. So what was I gonna even say about it? Shit. the the wasp attack completely took me out of my element. As you'd imagine.
PTSD.
Yeah, yeah.
So shit. Yeah, whatever. Basically, we started shooting on like Wednesday, I think, and then we finished shooting on Thursday. The whole movie is like 3 scenes technically. Well, it's 3 environments. It's not 3 scenes technically because the scenes are when it gets when the camera changes or people leave or enter the frame, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah,
3 locations.
yes. So that was
Well, you know what they call that, Addy? They call that bottle. They call that a bottle episode.
Yeah.
And here's the important thing. Bottle episodes are famous for 2 things. 1, they're the cheapest episodes to shoot of any given TV series. 2, they're almost always the most beloved and high-rated episodes of any given series.
Yeah. I mean, I had a good bit of like limitations to work around. Like once again, no experience, no like whatchamacallit, no like tools to do the stuff with because like I have access to my high school's camera, but when I brought it in to the high school to have one of the teachers help us shoot because he appeared in the movie, she was like, "Oh, that old shitty thing," so
Yeah.
that
old hunk of fucking junk. Man, we're so glad we offloaded that shit to you.
Pretty much. But yeah. So like genuinely though, I found out recently, as in yesterday, that they actually shot a new advertisement without me, and they actually shot it on a new camera. They got a company to come in and do it for them, so it's not like they have the camera, but
Are you coming back for revenge?
Yeah.
Perhaps. But yeah, so
your secret is safe with me.
So yeah, like I have access to that camera, and I have access to like an old version of Premiere, which is what I use to edit. But that's like the basics of what you actually need to put one of these together. But it's like the camera doesn't have optics. I can't change I actually don't know if they call them optics over there or not. But
for what it's worth, I'm going to go ahead and throw in there was also pretty humble origins for Steven Spielberg, George Lucas, Francis Ford Coppola, Martin Scorsese.
yeah. So yeah, like the camera doesn't really have a way to change the field of view, which is what optics are good for. But that and also like hue and stuff, but whatever. That's not getting into that because for one, I don't know what I'm talking about, and for two, it's very fucking complex, and we don't have time for that.
We ain't got time for this bullshit.
Yeah. But like that, the boom mic, the way that I made it so we can actually record audio that it wasn't coming from the camera, was that I brought in this microphone that I'm speaking into right now. I took it apart and then carried it into the locations. Well, the one location that it got used at, because I'm not gonna lie, being in a park and having a mic on a stand in the middle of the park with a fucking laptop would have been a look. And
Yeah.
it was not a look that I was willing to commit to, because we were already like, okay, shooting permits are the important thing that I really wanted to bring up here. So shooting permits are a complex thing in that you can have them revoked retroactively. This didn't happen to me, but technically it can happen.
Retroactively?
Yes. If you're shooting at a place, if you're shooting at a place or shooting with someone, and either the person or the person owning the place or the person you recorded they say that they don't want to appear, you can't actually show them, or you risk getting sued.
Ah.
Now,
you didn't hear this from me, but I had two. You didn't hear. Excuse me, not me. A friend of mine had two classes in high school where that friend, this friend had some classes that the friend had projects that the friend had to do home movies for, and the friend, no one in the friend's classes got permits. So the friend will remain unnamed for legal purposes. However, I have
Luke from
heard
Streets.
he is extremely sexy and knows all the Warhammer lore.
Oh.
Yes, Luke from Streets.
Yes.
But yeah, the permits are technically not a requirement. There is an entire there is a name for this. Shooting without a permit is called guerrilla recording.
Yeah.
Because the second you get caught, it's fucked. More or less.
Oh, I thought because you're recording a gorilla.
No, that's gorilla. Gorilla recording. You want guerrilla?
Oh. But monkey though.
But no, the secret is for guerrilla recording, you need to be in a monkey suit though.
That does play a big part in it, from what I hear. Yes.
But yeah, so I tried to do things mostly by the books. I got the soundtrack together. Most it was either free use, or we actually got asked for permission. Now, the people that we asked for permission for didn't reply, so we used a different source, and the source there was missing stuff. So it took until the movie was finished for us to actually find out who we were supposed to ask permission for or from. Now, having found that out, turns out we're actually free to use the music. So,
Whoops.
yeah, accidentally it's fine.
Yeah.
The best kind of fine.
Yeah. So yeah, that I got permission to shoot in the high school premises, which I'm gonna let you in on a secret. Permission to shoot on the high school premises for me is showing up to the high school, more or less, because that's pretty much how the working stuff was set up when I did the media stuff for the school. And basically, like, as long as I'm either on a job for them or not during teaching hours, it's fine.
Yeah.
So that was fine. The other two stuff, one of them was recorded on the street. location permits for street shooting are where shit hits the fan, because you see, if you're recording on the street normally, anyone walks up to you from the street, they go, I don't want to be in whatever you're shooting, you cannot use that footage. Now the way to circumvent
Makes
this,
sense.
the way to circumvent this is to ask the government for shooting permit for the street, where they will cordon off the area and you have to use your own people to fill out the scene. Now that wasn't an option because I don't have.
Yeah.
I can't.
You
I
don't
don't,
have a crowd of people.
I don't have a crowd of people or enough money to pay off the government to cordon off the streets. So we just shot in the wild, and it worked out fine. A guy who was very drunk asked for my hand in marriage.
Oh,
Yeah, and also
you're rich now?
no.
Yeah.
Ah,
But yeah, he was a pain in the ass. I hate drunk people.
yeah.
So yeah, like the guy wouldn't leave us alone to shoot stuff because he wanted to be recorded by the camera. And even though people explained to him that, hey, even if the camera is recording you, you won't fucking see it. Where would you fucking see it?
Yeah.
But he was drunk. He doesn't think.
Yeah.
That's typically how it goes.
That'd be how it do.
So yeah, that that happened. But yeah, the street shooting was otherwise mostly fine. I mean, yeah. And then we shot in a park. While we were in the park, because the park, the streets are in the city. We know the city. The park that we shot at was the first time we went to that park. It's in the mountains because that's where the rich people are.
Ah.
And while trying to think of locations to shoot at where it wouldn't where permits wouldn't be an issue, the people we were with went, hey, why don't we go to this place, the park? And then we told them that we've never been there, so we just went there to visit the park and then also shot the scene. Pretty much.
All right.
Now the thing there though is that they have security and cameras, so they knew that we were recording. So we were thinking about what if they stop us and we can't use the footage and whatever. I mean, if that would have happened, we would have just reshot it somewhere else. But
Yeah.
it's a different thing while you're there, and it's different once you're not.
Yeah.
Like people don't really want to spend an hour reshooting a scene only for that footage to be unusable.
Yeah. Understandably.
Not to mention that like all of the actors. So the actors that I had for this thing were all friends of my mom's. Now, this means that they are working people. They have jobs.
Yes.
Every single scene that we shot was on a short time limit because people had to go leave for work, which is understandable. I'm gonna complain about that. Like the thing here is that like nothing could give way here because like I had to have the movie done by this past Friday. Is the way that I should put it. But yeah, I had to have the movie done by this past Friday to make sure that I can actually submit it, which they still haven't told me where to submit it, by the way. But regardless, it had to be done so that whenever the chance rises, I can be on that immediately. But at the same time, I also have to keep in mind, these people have their lives. So because of that, I just went. I just was a very laid back director. I didn't actually really step in to direct people because like whatever, fuck it. If it was bad, then we'll reshoot it. But otherwise, if it was good, if I can cut it together, then we'll work with it because we don't have time to be picky.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's done. I will show y'all, as in the two of you, and probably the other people in the Discord, the movie, once once I have time to transcribe all of it in English, because of course it's in Hungarian.
Yeah, yeah.
As a side note, it had to be in Hungarian for a plethora
You
of
could
reasons.
make the bold assumption that the people at the film school would speak English, but it'd be a cocky assumption.
Yeah. I mean, I'm technically gonna be making the assumption anyway, because I'm gonna be I have to submit a portfolio of stuff, and one of those will be a review. And I haven't made reviews that were in Hungarian in like 4 years, so
Eh.
probably more.
To be fair, speaking English is a advertisable feature.
Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much all of it for the movie stuff, I think. Oh yeah. I have already we have already sent out the copies, quote unquote, and by copies I mean it's up on YouTube. And we just sent the link to people. And the response to it so far has been overwhelmingly positive. Most of the people who've seen it like it. 2 people, because this wasn't in person. There was supposed to be an in-person screening, but scheduling conflicts.
Yeah.
How dare those conflicts schedule themselves? Unbelievable.
But yeah,
Fuckers.
so 2 of the people who watched it reported that they cried. So maybe it's good. I don't know.
Here's success.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things where like I wanna say that the movie stinks. Because truly I look at it with an objective eye. I look at it the same way I do any other movie, and it stinks. At the same time, the movie was made on no budget in 2 days with amateur actors, with an amateur with amateur staff, as in me, because I did everything that wasn't acting.
Heh.
Like, when you consider all of those together, then it's alright.
Yeah.
But I do question whether the people at the film school will actually consider all of those.
Heh.
Because once again, on one hand, sure, the movie might be shitty, but like, when was the last time you saw a movie that was made in 2 days?
I don't think I've ever seen a movie that was made in 2 days.
Far be it for me to suggest this, but Addy, you have a very strong self. What's the word here? You're self-deprecating, and not just in the comedic sense, but in a serious sense. You always tear yourself down. Like, I don't think I've ever seen anyone who is more intensely a critic of themselves than yourself, Addy. So you can see where you're saying like, this movie's shit. That people said they cried, but this movie's shit. I'm sitting here thinking like, yeah, right. Keep going, Addy. Tell me.
I might be very, very critical of myself, just because something that actually has been a problem with us too, where people growing up, growing up, I was raised to try to be better in general, just try to be a good person. But the thing with being better is that that means that I always strive for perfection, and when I can't be perfect, it bothers me. Also, sometimes I really get fucking tired of trying to be better whenever everything around me is just like, no, shit stinks though.
Well, I'm very similar, but I like at a certain point, I made the decision of I should focus more on what I'm already better at, and I found my life to be much happier since I've made that choice.
I mean, that's fine. I don't know how I do that, because I don't know how I can sell being mediocre at fighting games.
Pfft.
you know.
Well, you can't compare yourself to the very, very best at something. Like,
Yeah,
as
that's
long as
true.
you're, like, just out tossing the football casually and you're like, "Ah, man, I'm not as good as Peyton Manning," and it's gonna suck throwing the fucking football, but if you're doing it better than everybody in your neighborhood, then that's definitely something to be proud of.
I guess I don't know what my neighborhood would be in this what's the word I'm looking for, comparison. I guess I'll use that because I don't the actual term eludes me. But yeah, in this comparison,
Pink?
Um, well, I don't know.
You're a little. I'm just not to mock on fucking Pink here, but Pink, would you consider yourself on Addie's level?
No. In what way, though?
In what way? The world may never know.
the one true measure of one's character, dick size.
Yes.
Oh, well, we've established that I've got a tiny wiener, so, no competition there.
That's the way you do it. You play the guitar on the MTV.
But yeah, so nothing's really coming out on my channel. Maybe something later. I don't know. Apparently, I'm starting work on Monday. I was told this like 3 hours
Well, that's
ago.
terrible.
Yeah.
On the other hand, money.
I do like money.
That's the thing. Like I have no fucking clue about anything. My sister asked, in one of the
That's a quote for life. I have no fucking clue about anything.
like my sister
Where
asked.
am I right now?
Yeah. My sister asked what the at one of the Chinese restaurants that she frequents, if they had a free space, or actually that's the thing, we know nothing. He hasn't told us enough information to actually like know things. It's just, hey, I'm expected on Monday at this Chinese restaurant at 9.
Eh,
That's messed up.
Yeah. And I will be put into the kitchen because she told them that I can't handle working with customers.
Ah,
Those are the two things that I know.
all right.
So who knows what will happen come next week?
it's a mystery.
Yeah.
Full of change that no one sees.
Precisely.
So I suppose that's my week.
Yes. And with
So-
everybody's weeks cleared, as I already hit the Devolution channel content while you're away, Atty, we can now hit the topic of the episode. Imagine that there's a cool fanfare there.
Somebody
So-
cue up the applause soundbite.
Yeah, hit that one and not the crickets, please.
I got you, fam.
There it is.
Oh no!
We knew we could count on you, Addy.
How could this happen? So, the topic for today's episode, for us to hit, this is a little bit of a personal one. They don't all need to be personal, though. So, the topic for today's episode is, what is one particular video game or video game experience that you could point to as something that you latched onto, intentionally or unintentionally, that has had a distinctive, noticeable effect on the way you play video games or what you seek out in video games? An early distinctive experience of playing video games that sticks out in your mind.
I mean, I'd assume mine is fairly obvious.
Yeah, I think for you and me, we both got big ones that we've talked quite a lot about in the past. Which, Pink, should we give Pink, do you have an immediate answer, or do you need to be given
I
time?
don't have an immediate answer. I was hoping one of you guys would answer the question first so I could kind of jog my memory and come up with a good answer.
All right. Well, Eddie, do you want to go first or shall I?
I'm fine with either.
Well, usually I go last when we hit the channel stuff, so this time I'll go first. So, excuse me. So, I could pretty distinctively point to Dead Rising as a game that has kind of influenced the way I play video games and what I often seek out of many video games, and in a very strange way. I think I've explained to you guys before that before I ever got around to playing the original Dead Rising, I read the strategy guide for it, and quite a bit, right?
Right.
And I got to where I just allow as a kid, I don't know if it was some kind of like kind of I don't want to say autistic thing because that can sound a little bit crude. Nowadays with the internet, they use like 4chan has made the word autistic mean just anything we think want to make fun of, but almost like some kind of autistic thing, I would just become obsessed with like learning everything in that strategy guide, learning so much of the survivors and the bosses and the times they spawn. And where for everybody else, understandably, Dead Rising 1 was a very stress inducing game, and a lot of people hated the timing in that game and the timer and having to manage that stuff and stay on top of that stuff. For me, it added a lot of the fun to the game, having to build plans for the way I was going to play the game ahead of time. And trying those plans out, seeing what parts failed and what parts succeeded. And then that partially leads to then the way I play many other games, like Metroidvanias or survival games, where there is different stuff you can hit in different orders. And it's not quite so much based on difficulty of lining up time schedules, but still, it's like, what do I want to hit at a given time? What tool am I comfortable skipping? What tool do I really need before I want to be comfortable moving forwards in the game? And I can very clearly point to that and see where a lot of what I'm interested in games comes from there, you know?
Yeah.
And I suppose I should ask if either of you guys empathize with that feeling or if I'm just sounding like a complete alien when I talk about
I
these things.
empathize greatly with that feeling. There were several games. I don't know if there was any. There might have been maybe one, but I
RNG
don't know if.
aside, there's a lot of that in Hades.
Right, right. I don't know if there was any one specific game where I was kind of obsessed with it before I started playing it, but there were
Oh, that's
definitely.
another good question. That's a
Th-
whole nother good little
Yeah,
question there, isn't it?
yeah. There were definitely games that I became obsessed with after playing it for the first time. Um, hmm. Hmm. Yeah, it's kind of a phenomenon for people my age from my era growing up, where Pac-Man World 2 is kind of the biggest thing on the block between like
What?
2003 and 2005, I want to say.
Really?
I don't remember when that game came out,
No, I
but
don't mean the time window. I just didn't know people played Pac-Man World 2.
yeah, I want to say it's a very niche game for a very niche point in time from the early 2000s to where like everyone in my age group that I know of played that game or was aware of that game growing up.
I
So
was aware of it, but
that was a moderate obsession, and it was so prevalent in my childhood because it was a game that I saw everywhere but never actually owned myself. So, I'd see it at friends' house. I'd see it at uncle's house. I'd see it. It's just at the library, even though libraries are for books and not games, and it doesn't make any sense. But still, that game was pretty prevalent in anywhere I went back in the early 2000s if there was a video game console of any sort, because that game was multi-platform. So that was kind of a game where I knew a lot about it before I ever actually owned it and played it myself. Hmm. And so, in similar vein to your Dead Rising thing, I had some moderate obsessions with it before I ever actually got my hands on it. I knew a lot about it before I ever was actually able to play it, and that was as like a 5 or 6 year old.
I definitely recall looking at like seeing it in stores and thinking like, "Oh, that sounds cool." And my dad loves Pac-Man the arcade game, the original Pac. Well, no, he doesn't love Pac-Man, he loves Miss Pac-Man,
Good
right?
man, good man.
Yeah,
That's the superior version.
everyone likes Big Pac-Man better because it doesn't stink.
I don't even know the difference, which is ridiculous considering who my dad is. Because I am sure he has given me the speech about why Miss Pac-Man is superior 3 or 4 times. It just never sticks with me.
He has a bow. What else do you need?
That you got the truth there, brother. Truer words never spoken. It was something about the stages, wasn't it? Isn't there
I
like the
think
whole thing
so.
about like Miss Pac-Man is considered to have better stages?
Yeah, better stage layout, better AI for the ghosts. A lot of things. Just Miss Pac-Man did better, which is
Hmm.
really revolutionary for such a simple design. But yeah. Hmm.
Which, yeah, I guess that's just simply on its face the big difference, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Hmm.
basically.
All right. Well, Pac-Man World, did you ever actually play Pac-Man World, or was it always were you always chasing it on the beach in the sunset? Like,
Uh, it was it was honestly one of the first games that we owned on the Xbox console, which we upgraded to around 2004. I'll have to try to recall the timeline of that. Basically, when I was born and growing up, the family console was the old ass Super Nintendo and a Sega
ooh,
Genesis. So that's more or less what I grew up on, as well as some PC games because my dad had a computer, obviously, because that's a lot of what his work was, and he quite enjoyed that computer. So, my foray into gaming was through the Sega Genesis, Super Nintendo, and PC. Now, when he upgraded to a more modern console back in the day, he upgraded to an Xbox initially. Um, I think the Xbox came first, and we got a GameCube shortly thereafter. And funny story is that my mom, she's very anti video game consoles and stuff like that. And
eh,
so, yeah, she gave us all an ultimatum of one of these consoles has to go because she wasn't happy with having 4 video game consoles to kind of convert her kids to the dark side. So,
yeah,
one of those consoles had to go. So everyone took a vote. They ranked their favorite consoles in order, and it was ultimately decided upon that the Xbox would be removed from the household. It was kind of a logical decision to make because we had a lot more games on the Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis, and we had Mario Kart on the GameCube. For the Xbox, we only had Pac-Man World 2, and I want to say it was a game called Splashdown, which was a what are those stupid jet ski things called? I guess they're
jet
called jet
skis.
skis. Yeah. So that was a racing game with jet skis, and those were the only 2 games that we as children had on the Xbox. Now, my dad had Grand Theft Auto and things like that as well.
Who?
But yeah, my mom, she would definitely not have let us play that growing up. She didn't even like that we watched dad play it, which was funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the lifespan of the Xbox. We had it for a couple of months, then we decided to get rid of it, and now the funniest thing about that is that we all loved Pac-Man World 2, so it really sucked to have to get rid of the console that had that game on it, but that was a choice that we came to a decision on, and so Xbox was gone, so it was Pac-Man World 2. But many years later, we would then pick up Pac-Man World 2 on the GameCube, which was kind of funny because no matter what console we had, we always had that dream alive of one day reacquiring Pac-Man World 2, and then one day it actually happened, and then we spent like the entire weekend just playing it front to back, beginning to end, and finishing it in like a weekend.
I
It was
have
a
a
lot longer
dream
than
of
that, but
Pac-Man
still.
World 2 on every platform for every boy and girl.
Right? So it's kind of funny how much Pac-Man World 2 kind of shaped my brain on consoles and video games and all that stuff. Even before I ever actually played the thing, just because it was so prevalent and I'd seen it everywhere, kind of shaped the foundation of what I considered a quote-unquote good game to be without actually being all that good of a game. But it's still great. Still a lot of childhood memories with that.
And Addy, has there ever been what game was there in your childhood that was like you were chasing it in the sunset and you couldn't catch it?
All right. I actually have one of these. I technically played it, but technically not. So there was this game, this third-person shooter, that was Bionicle themed, which his name eludes me.
Ooh,
It escapes me right now.
Bionicle Heroes.
Yes, that's the one.
I also had that game growing up, and I remember it was not good, but I did really enjoy it as a kid because it was dog shit easy.
I played. I spent
I
years
had it
trying.
on the Wii as well, so you
Ah,
had to like
Oh
actually
no!
aim with the Wiimote. Yeah,
yeah. See,
yeah, because that was
yeah.
that was the whole thing. Like my mom growing up, I remember she's not nearly as opinionated on these things now, but I remember once upon a time when I was a kid, my mom did at one point admit like, "Oh, if you guys let me, I'd throw the PS2 out the fucking window." And but later on, she was like, "Finally, I'll find a way to reach my kids and my husband on this video game thing. This Nintendo Wii, the bridge between video games and fitness."
Oh yes.
Uh huh. Which should have been. I remember it was it was a weird flip for me because I remember she got the Wii as a complete fucking surprise, and I was like, "What the fuck?" And me as a kid, like I already was like fitness games. This doesn't fucking work because we had tried the iToy before that as well. Keep in mind.
Ah.
Does anyone remember that?
I
Oh, barely.
I remember advertisements for it in games, but I don't think the iDoy was ever like properly sold over here.
Lucky you.
Yeah.
It didn't work too well and it was stupid to begin with. But nonetheless, she got that as a complete surprise. But she also she didn't buy any games for it, but she did rent right out the gate. She went to Family Video, and it had just happened that the timing was so perfect. She went, "Oh, this is apparently a new one they were really excited about, a new game. I don't know. It seemed like it might be cool. Alex might like it. It's a fighting kind of game. Super Smash Brothers Brawl. I saw Mario on the cover and the Zelda guy." And while I ultimately the Wii was a console that I look back on and just kind of laugh for how dumb it is, I am very happy that I got to play Brawl because while Brawl may be despised by the competitive community, I really loved Brawl growing up.
As did I. I was a
Yeah.
massive fan. So I actually kind of have the similar another game chasing
I don't want to get
story.
too far from Addy's though, because
No problem. No
Addy didn't
problem.
get to hit Bionicle very much.
No problem.
So if you can hold on to that for a moment, we'll come
I'm
back.
holding on to it.
But
Addy
yeah,
has the floor.
you remember how that was a third-person shooter, Addy, but it had auto aim anyways?
That's the thing. I don't think the version I played had auto aim, but so that game had a 360 or Xbox 360 version. I didn't get an Xbox 360 until 2013. Keep in mind, so the way past by the time that game would have been sold. Didn't get to play it that way. I did during that time between seeing it and getting an Xbox 360. I did manage to scour the webs, scour the malware infested
Mini cobwebs.
fake malware infested fake download links for a demo of the PC version.
Whoa.
I played the demo of the PC version, and I remember liking it. And I went, "Hey, I'll buy this game sometime." and I still haven't bought it. Technically, I actually have even bigger one that I forgot because it's one that I have played now. But for the longest time, the game that eluded me and I ran through it in the sunset was Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, I can definitely see that one. Yeah,
Because I saw Kingdom Hearts was one of the first series, or one of the first games that I saw growing up on YouTube, and I didn't understand English, and I didn't understand what the fuck's going on.
oh, if there's any game where it's already difficult enough to understand, even if you don't know the fucking language.
Yeah. But this was around the time that I was this was around the time that I was getting in. Well, this was the time that I was really getting into anime, and I was in the age group where you're supposed to find Kingdom Hearts. I was numerous target, and it hit, and I was like, man, I'm gonna get. I'm reading that these games are for the PS2. I own a PS2. I'm gonna try to get them, and there was one shop that doesn't exist anymore. I don't think that would actually still sell games that were out of print, like the shit that no one else sold. And even they were like, we can't fucking do anything about Kingdom Hearts. Technically we have it listed. It's for like $30 for a copy, and even if you try paying for it, we actually can't get you a copy.
Mickey has a gun to my head. You can't see, but behind me, he's back here with the fucking 9 to my head.
So yeah, until December of last year when they added the PS Plus, Kingdom Hearts was my game that I was chasing after in the sunset.
That's very good that you got to get it in later at life, and it turned out to be a game you really enjoyed then.
Yeah. All right, Pink, you had one you wanted to hit up.
Oh yeah, so going back to Smash Brothers very, very briefly, I played the original Super Smash 64 at a friend's house when I was like 5, and I was in love with it immediately, and that game imprinted upon my brain very, very quickly, even though I only played it for like an hour one afternoon and shouldn't have remembered it at all. But fast forward several years to the point where we now have the GameCube, and I saw Super Smash Bros. Melee at GameStop, and I knew of Smash Brothers. I knew it was a good game. I knew it was fun, and I would literally beg up and down for years and years and years to my dad to please let us get this game. It's amazing. It's the greatest game I've ever played. And for the longest time, the answer was usually no, for several reasons. One, it's a Nintendo game; those are like $60 used.
Yeah.
So yeah, the price point on that was always especially high, and nobody else was really interested in it the way I was. And furthermore, it features Pikachu, which is a devil, so that was a very, very hard sell. And probably the only reason.
Pokemon Satanic.
Yes, that was probably the only reason why my dad didn't pick it up ever.
They didn't want Lucario to turn you gay. Look.
Okay then. But yes. So technically I never there's no reason I should have ever actually owned Super Smash Bros. Melee. But one fateful day, and I don't know why, but I don't know the whole story actually, but basically my dad is on Amazon or eBay or something, and he's buying up some used GameCubes that also come with some used games because it's like dirt cheap or something. I don't know the story behind it. So in one of the boxes that arrives, it's a old ass GameCube, some controllers, a various assortment of memory cards, and then a various assortment of pre-used games. One of those games was actually Super Smash Bros. Melee, which I assume just sort of slipped its way in because, it's a GameCube on eBay for $5 that comes with like 10 games, and they didn't bother listing the games or anything. I don't know. But yes, finally, I've been begging for this game since 2002, It is now 2008 or something. Super Smash Bros. Brawl is right around the corner, mind you. But we finally acquired Super Smash Bros. Melee. And I played the crap out of it until I bought Super Smash Bros. Brawl like a year later.
Yep. And hey, if you don't know wave dashing, then you don't know about tripping. And if you don't know about tripping, then like it's like, why does everybody prefer Melee?
Oh yeah. So yeah, that's honestly a big reason why I don't view Melee as competitively as other people obviously do, because I kind of experienced both games around the same time frame. You know, it's like a year alone with Melee. That's not a long time in like kid years. Well, I guess it's a longer time in kid years, but it didn't feel like a long time. And then to play Super Smash Bros. Brawl like a year or less later. It's like, as a kid, I'm not paying attention to all the core gameplay mechanics, you know, the heavier weight on Melee, the floatier stuff on Brawl. To me, it's like, okay, Brawl looks so much nicer and feels so much smoother. Clearly, this is a superior game.
There were only like 3 characters lost between Melee and Brawl, right? Roy.
Yeah,
and
we lost out on Roy, Dr. Mario, and Pichu, and Mewtwo. But
Mew and Mewtwo
outside of
like
the Echo Fighters,
yeah.
outside of the Echo Fighters and Mewtwo, not much was lost. And then they added Lucario, who was very similar to Mewtwo as well. So, like, in my mind, as a kid, not knowing much, I thought Lucario was just kind of like a reskin of Mewtwo. So that was fine with me.
I remember. Oh, you know what? I remember when I was a little kid, I had seen the Mewtwo movie, so I was really disappointed Mewtwo wasn't in Brawl, but that was about it.
Right.
Because when you're a kid, Mewtwo's the coolest Pokemon, right?
Right. Absolutely. Nope. What are you talking about?
You shut up. Him and who's the big lion god Pokemon that has the movie about him? Yeah, him. Those two are the coolest. Also, not missing no. Who's unknown? Also, when you're a kid, unknown, coolest.
Right. You can use him as an alphabet. It's wild.
There's 26 of them. 26 variants.
Literally.
Oh man, that's a wild trip. I'm sure I've asked you this before, but why is Pokemon the devil?
I don't know, and I've asked my mom this before. She never gave me a clear enough answer.
The TV said so.
So I remember asking,
hard-assing Pink's mom like pointlessly from a distance. Like,
it's messed up, yo.
I'm genuinely curious.
No, genuinely, as far as I can tell, that's the only reason that I could see, because like I have watched videos or like videos of shit from over there around that time, and it was just like Pokemon is the devil because they're monsters, and only the devil has monsters. There's something like that.
I guess that kind of follows.
I always assumed it had more to do with the evolution aspect of it, because
that's
evolutionism flies in the face of the Christianity. So I always assumed that was a big part of it. What was that?
I said depending on your sect.
Depending on the sect, but yeah, mine was Baptist Christianity, which is very much a creationist point of view.
If at some point I ever bring my sister around, you mention you're a Baptist, then she might just start going like, out, demon, out! The Lord atheism compels you. The Lord atheism compels you.
She makes an A with her fingers and sprinkles you with unholy water.
Unholy water.
Richard Dawkins compels you. Richard Dawkins compels you.
I still don't know why Pikachu was demonic back in the day. I always thought I had I had a kind of good mindset of, it must be the evolution thing, but that turned out to not be true. and I don't know what the actual answer is anymore. I think just at the time, maybe because it was so popular that it kind of frightened people with how intently obsessed their little kids were with it. So maybe it was just a
You know, I'll take "It's the Devil" over "Don't Play That Kid." It was made by the okay, I nearly said a racial slur. It was made by the Japanese.
oh.
I nearly let loose a line that my great grandma would have happily slung, but
See, over here, racism is so like out there that they don't even use slurs. They're just like, oh, you know, people like Asian people, Chinamen, fuck it, all of them are from China.
by now in America, like it's not necessarily a slur, but if you call a Chinese person Chinaman, you're going to get some weird looks, and people are going to assume you're racist.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, you know, the thing for me is that, like, you know, most of the people over here who come from Asia are like, you know, of course, yeah, Chinese, but Vietnamese. There are some Japanese, not a lot. Like, you know, it's one of those things. Like, I recently had a conversation with a guy. He's in like his mid-20s. No, he's mid-30s, I think. Yeah, he's mid-30s. And how many times do you have to correct someone on talking about a topic about that fucking talking about something that comes out of Japan? How many times do you have to correct someone that thing is not from China before they actually realize that it's not from China? You know?
You know, we in America we don't really have the China-Japan mix-up, partly because of our relations with Japan throughout the '80s, partly because of paranoias about China now, and partly because of intense anti-Japanese racism as a result of World War II.
Ah,
Because that was my great grandma's whole thing was they did Pearl Harbor, you can't trust them. Like
they attacked your
50
grandma in the
years
ring.
after Pearl Harbor, by the way.
They attacked your grandma while she was in the ring and looking at the hard cam.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the way she talked, she acted like they fucking did it to her. I mean, it's 9/11. Like with 9/11, people like when we talked to like all of us, like Pink, you're only a little bit older than me, so your memory of 9/11 probably ain't too clear either, right?
Right. And
But
I wasn't like at school watching news feeds when all that went down or anything. So I don't have that experience, but I was old enough to have visited the Twin Towers at one point early in my life. And I was old enough to understand that they now no longer existed, but I didn't understand the magnitude of it. To
yeah,
me, it was like you hear, oh yeah, the Twin Towers collapsed. It's like, that whoops, that sounds unfortunate. I hope they get those rebuilt soon.
yeah,
It wasn't in my childhood mind. It wasn't. Oh yeah, terrorists hijack some planes and crash them into buildings, killing thousands of people. So yeah, that didn't quite click in my brain at that age.
yeah.
It
Why would
it
it?
clicked later on, you know, but as a how old would I have been at that point? I was born in '96, so I would have been 4,
You would have been 5, wouldn't you?
5. Yeah,
Because I was 3 when it happened.
yeah. So yeah, I was old enough to understand that. Yeah, basically what I said prior. I understood it, but I didn't fully comprehend it.
Yeah, and like, but you and I both then have come up with parents explaining to us, like, no, when it happened, we thought Osama bin Laden had guys literally in our backyard that were going to blow up
Yes,
every gas station in the
yes.
country.
Uh huh.
And like, it's just one of those things that is crazy just for like, for us now in hindsight, it's like, well, don't be fucking stupid. Why would Osama bin Laden be blowing up every gas station in the country?
Right,
How even
but
would he do that?
yeah, but
But at
that
the
was the
time,
paranoia back then. Yep.
But at the time, like America, both before Pearl Harbor and before 9/11, really thought it was invincible.
Yeah.
And both times when you get suddenly that illusion broken, it goes from one end, it rubber bands hard to the other. Or like
Yeah.
it's suddenly gone from we are invincible, no one can touch us to we are hounded on all sides.
Right.
I mean, the word like it's home invasions, right? Home invasions, one of the most brutal things you can do to somebody is take away their personal security.
Yeah.
Anyways, on that dour note, let's get back to video games.
Yeah.
Alright. Well, my game that really defined my taste in games and stuff like that is of course Contra. Now, recently, I actually found the cartridge that I have Wait, is it? No, I'm wrong. Fuck. Never mind.
Oh.
I can't see you, but I like to imagine you literally just looked down at it in your hand and went, oh shit.
No, I did find one of my cartridges. I had mixed it up. So I had Contra on its own separate cartridge. And then I also had one cartridge that was Dragon Ball Super Butoden, Street Fighter 2, and some fucking Gundam game that I never played because I wanted to play fighting games. I'll send a picture of that because I found that a while back.
They should have reskinned Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat into the Gundams. There you go.
Yeah. Like it was this like side-scrolling shoot 'em up, and I like Galaxian, but that's an upward scrolling shoot 'em up.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, it's getting uploaded allegedly, the image of the cartridge. Either which way, yeah, Contra. So, as we all know, as I have forced all of you to play Contra with me, I'm pretty sure. No, Pink
I still have yet to be forced to Contra, but it's gonna happen one day.
Yeah.
It's inevitable. It's like
But
death and taxes.
You said that like well, yeah, I'm gonna some point the dementia is gonna kick in.
But yeah, Contra, like I got into Contra. I actually don't know. That's the thing. I've been playing Contra for pretty much literally all of my life. It's like one of my earliest memories is playing Contra. So yeah, cause my family got on NES shortly before I was born. Like I think my mom said that she was doing runs on Galaxy and while she was waiting for the the process of getting me born kicks in properly.
Right.
But is it not crazy that some births are like easy breezy lemon squeezy, just baby shoots out, done, and then others are just complete nightmares.
Yeah.
I mean, with me, it wasn't it wasn't a nightmare as much as it was unexpected because I wasn't supposed to be born for like another like 3 or 4 weeks.
Oh.
Yeah.
I forget. I had to come out early as well. I think though that I think I've mentioned this before, but that's because I was literally eating my own shit, which was kind of prophetic, really.
Yeah, for me, I don't know what happened exactly, because once again, I was supposed to come out like 3 or 4 weeks later, and when I was born, I was already the size that I was supposed to be when I was supposed to be born healthy. So it is a mystery.
You're speed running it.
Yeah.
Be born %.
By the way, I did post the cartridge into the voice text.
I saw that. That reminds me very much of Pink. How much shopping was ever done for toys at the dollar store for you growing up?
Honestly, not all that much.
Okay, that definitely reminds me of a variety of totally legit toy packs I've seen as a kid growing up.
Right.
And I think we purchased a few. There's definitely some relabeled Transformers in the box somewhere around here that are of Very poor quality.
Yeah, I remember having like one or two sets of like Power Rangers teams worth of different colored Batmans from the animated series.
Yeah.
Through those.
Oh man. Oh, not to go just wildly off topic here, but you bringing up a Batman toy, you just brought back a little bit of a primal memory. So, did anyone here lose toys to the Great Lead recall of the mid 2000s?
No.
Oh, I don't know.
I lost a Batman to it.
See, I don't like. See, the companies that most of my toys were from, dissolved before they could do a lead recall. So if those things had lead paint on them, I just got poisoned.
Yeah.
Casually.
Supposedly it was fine as long as you didn't eat it, I guess. But
Yeah.
it's kids. They're going to stick it in their mouth. I remember with that Batman, my mom actually pretty well said, "No, I didn't think you were gonna stuff it in your mouth. I was just being careful."
Yeah.
Right.
Because I was probably like 8 or 9, so I was already too old to be stuffing toys in my mouth. It's just like just in case something stupid happens.
Yeah. You know, I got most of my toys from the dollar store, and then like when I didn't, I would get like collector's items. Like I would get these figures with like stupid amounts of articulation because those are things that I actually wanted to play with, but we couldn't really afford them. So I only have a handful of those, but those still remain. Like I still have them on the shelf over here. I have two Action Men from a line that they used to have in the mid 2000s time with their TV series. Those are not of really high quality, but whatever. You know, they were a bit on the expensive side, and they also have like this collector Street Fighter 4 Akuma that I modified.
Ha!
Oh.
And Street Fighter Alpha 8 on, and Venom from the third Spider-Man movie, the Raimi one.
Oh, skinny Venom. Oh boy.
Oh, not skinny Venom, but I guess that depends. He has a big chest, but he is, you know, he is fairly top heavy.
My memory of Spider-Man 3 is not super great. I've made a point of avoiding it, but if memory serves, wasn't Venom pretty skinny in that movie because it was, they were having to work
Venom
around.
was really small in that movie, but I want to say some of the merchandise, the toys, the action figures they made for the movie actually made him a bit more comic accurate, just a bit. So he wouldn't have been a skinny boy. He would have been pretty chonky, but not as chonky as we all know and love.
Yeah.
And then I also used to have a Spider-Man from Spider-Man 3, but he lost his foot to the spinning toe hold. That's not a joke.
Aha!
He lost both of his feet to the spinning toe hold.
Terry strikes again.
Because like I didn't
Somebody has to stop him.
Because I didn't have wrestling figures when I got into wrestling, and I was like 13. I would just have these figures do wrestling stuff. And then I got a Rey Mysterio, and he had no points of articulation.
Ah!
Like, I shit you not, the Rey Mysterio figure had proper armored articulation. You know, a bit in the neck, not too much, but a bit of it. His feet moved up and down. He's a luchador. What the fuck do you think luchadors do?
Good question.
Yeah, that's what you take the old school toys and you just, I don't know, put them in your hand and hit the ropes with them a few times and then just hit the opponent with them, I guess. Just clumsily do that.
Yeah. Like the only actual like lucha stuff that they would do, I don't know, that figure could do was he could do one of those like running head scissors where they do the flip and basically only one of their legs is touching the other guy's head at the time.
It sounds pretty limiting.
Yeah. Because like if you wanted Ray to do a Hurricane Rana, you had to force the joints to open up a bit more. So that there was space between his thick ass thighs. for the other guy's head to go in.
Oh,
Because of course his race pants are not pants; those are his feet. Because it was hard molded plastic.
yep.
Yeah.
Oh
boy, yeah, that's great.
yeah. Recently, not recently, but fairly recently, my mom was like, "Hey, why don't I go and look for like other figures like this to have as decorations?" But like they cost a lot.
Yes, they do.
I was like, I wouldn't mind one of those. There's a nice line of Sengoku Basara figures that they released, and I wouldn't mind a mouse money from that. That line stopped being made in 2009 or so, and it costs like $60 plus shipping, which isn't a lot when you consider it's a collector's item, but also not something that I can afford easily.
Ugh.
And also, yeah, of course, I would also have to import it. So yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, Contra. Uh, I'd say that Contra influenced the way that I look at difficulty a lot. Because to me, the way that Contra handles difficulty is the way to do difficulty in an enjoyable way. When everything, well, not everything, but like most things are similar between both the player character and the AI. And sure, the player character may have some things to get a foot over the AI, but the AI have numbers. Like that works for
Yes.
me. And I think,
Yeah, there's a certain
yeah,
magic to like the idea that the AI is equal to you. So it does feel like you're really overcoming not just a horde of lemmings, but like one man armying, you know?
yes. And I think Contra did it fairly well because, like, yeah, everyone, like, yeah, the enemies die in one shot, most of them, but so do you. And
Yeah.
and unlike them, you can't just spawn in like five more of you off the screen, just slightly off screen, so that like one pixel touches and they die.
Yeah.
That I also really like the amount of movement because like the other games that I played usually had very limited movement capabilities because they were old. I mean, I grew up with an NES, but
Yeah. I mean, like, it's crazy. Just like the original Metroid, playing the original Metroid, the movement in that game is stiff as hell, but it's a lot better than almost every other NES game.
yeah,
Yeah.
because like the other games that I remember playing a lot were well, there's a couple, and I actually don't know one of their names, but yeah, like I played the original Super Mario Brothers. That is, I
Oh no.
I played a lot of Hudson's Adventure Island 2, which is Super Mario Brothers the original but better. I
Yeah.
played Samurai Pizza Cats, which wasn't released in America, so you wouldn't even know.
Ah,
Yeah,
sounds like a Turtles knockoff.
the IP was, the game wasn't. The game was sort of like Mega Man, where you could switch between the Ninja Cats on the fly and they had their own abilities
Huh.
or something like that. I haven't played that game in years. People like I remember seeing videos on it on Hungarian YouTube about how it was shit. I don't remember, but yeah,
What were they thinking in Hungarian?
yeah. So
Whatever it is, you gotta take it and you gotta make it whiny.
yeah, but yeah. Oh yeah. I played a lot of the original Ninja Turtles game. The one,
Oh
Oh
the
boy.
one,
no.
the one with the impossible jump.
Oh no.
The
Yeah,
impossible jump and also the electric seaweed.
I never got to the electric seaweed. Couldn't get past the impossible jump.
Right. Was that certain versions of the game came with the impossible jump?
The NES one.
Oh,
Yeah,
really? I
specifically.
thought it was like only
Yeah,
was it like one of the turtles could get past it, but not the other three?
I think it was like a frame perfect jump where if you do it with like the exact amount of pixels between your leg and the edge of the screen, then you can hit your head in just the right way to make it through. but like you have 4 lives, because that's a death pit if memory serves, on next to the impossible jump, or in it, I guess. And if memory serves, every time you die, you get 3 lives with a checkpoint system, and every 3 lives, one of the turtles die. You have 12 tries to make it through the jump. That is pixel perfect.
Yeah.
That I also remember, like, not knowing where to go, because that game was like pseudo open world, where you could have the turtles drive around.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I don't remember that, but okay.
I mean, it wasn't like.
And again, I'm not an expert on that game.
Yeah. And I just remember, like, there being a part where you can go up through the sewers, and if you go up through the sewers, then you get into that car, and then you can drive around a bit, which you need to do to open up some way through the first level. You need to go to the second level, so it's basically just like an overworld map, like in Final Fantasy, but the no instruction manual, because I had a Famiclone. The people who made that cartridge made the cartridge. Bless you. They are not putting any fucking anything else in. Bless you.
Oh.
So yeah, I played a lot of that. Like my point being that, like, usually in the games that I played, it was like, okay, so you move forward, and if you press the action button, then you punch forward, or you might be able to punch up, but that's it. Most other games don't really have the thing of, like, you can shoot in 8 directions. You can move while shooting. You can, you can do these elaborate movements in the air while you're shooting people. And the elaborate movements are something you learn. It's not actually a part of the game. The jumps are just that floaty that you pretty much get to just fly for a bit once you get used to them. And yeah, otherwise I don't really know what Contra inspired for me, aside from difficulty, because, like, I guess the thing of always being able to push the game to it, or whatever, like trying to push the game's mechanics to their limits, to see just how jank you can get, like how much busted bullshit you can get out of it, because that's what you need to do to beat Contra.
How stupid can I make this?
Yeah, I mean, look, the most consistent good way to beat Red Falcon in Contra, assuming there's 2 of you, which, by the way, yes, I had a full-on rehearsed strategy for 2-player Contra when I was growing up.
Memory serves, isn't there friendly fire in that game or something like that?
No.
Okay, I thought for a second I was thinking, like, isn't that a game where you kind of need to rehearse just because, like, you can kill each other?
No, you can in the later games, but not in the first one, I don't think. Well, usually if that's an option, then it's gonna be like you have single player, 2-player A, 2-player B, and then 2-player.
And they don't tell you which one is friendly fire and which one isn't.
Yeah, I mean, it's usually B. It's usually B.
Old school video games, brother.
Yeah. But yeah, the best most consistent way to beat Red Falcon, the fastest, while there's 2 of you, is for both of you to go up as far into the Red Falcon sprite, which is the heart at the end of stage 9. Go up as far into it as you can. One of you keeps running at it while shooting up at an angle. The other one lies down and shoots downward. That way, none of the face crawlers, or whatever, the face huggers, can actually spawn, because they're always getting shot whenever they would approach you. And once the pods are destroyed under Red Falcon's heart, then the person who's lying down can also start mimicking the first player, where they're running into Red Falcon, shooting upwards. And that way, you will not die. You cannot die.
You become immortal.
Yeah. But that, and also, like,
just that simple.
That, and I also, like, the reason that I'm as good at Contra as I am, Like the reason that that whenever I play Contra with one of y'all, it's kind of just me playing the game while y'all tag along, is because that's how
And die.
Yeah, it's because I'm legitimately.
I will say I don't remember a whole lot of when we played Contra. I remember distinctly, I'm back, I'm dead.
Yeah, that is the Contra experience. We should play it again on Fight Kit because then this time you won't be on a delay. But
I'm not sure it'll help that much, honestly.
But yeah, like the reason that I'm as good at Contra as I am is because whenever I used to play with my mom or my dad, I would always have to hard carry them, and then beat the game with just like the somewhat added firepower that they would provide against Red Falcon in the end.
Yeah.
And not only that, but like obviously I played with the Contra code because why would you not?
Yeah.
But
I mean, it's one of the most famous cheat codes of all time because it's really considered a necessity.
yeah. But this would result in games where like for example I'd be playing with my mom and she'd use up all of her 30 lives. I would still have like 25, and eventually we loop around to me actually getting down to the stages where the game actually displays lives, and we'd still beat the game. We'd still beat the game, but it's a thing of like, all right, so I used up like 5 lives to beat the game, and they used up 35 or something like that. It would be more. It would be like something like 55 or something. No, that would mean that we died. We died. Whatever numbers. But yeah, otherwise, like I don't know, cause I don't know, cause I don't really have. Like, I don't really like the aesthetics of Contra per se. It's classic. I wouldn't change it, but I also don't really seek out the whole the whole 80s action sci-fi blend that it has.
You haven't spent the rest of your life chasing after Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger in the distance?
No.
Why not?
I'm perplexed.
I'm beside myself. I'm curmudgeoned.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I guess in a sense for running guns at least, I do see Contra in other running guns, and usually I'm left disappointed because whenever running guns come out nowadays, they are either inspired by Contra 3, which is Metal Slug, which is Metal Slug, or in Cuphead's case, Mega Man, which isn't really a running gun to me.
I thought for a second what you were about to say, which is Metal Slug. Now I return to my home, which is Metal Slug, for which is Metal Slug.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, I played Metal Slug, one of them. I don't actually remember which one. I could tell you a quick summary of whatever I could figure out of the plot, but I'm pretty sure the plot is similar in that they're all bonkers for Metal Slug. So I can't. I don't think I can give you any notes on which one it was, but yeah, I played through one of the Metal Slug games on the Xbox because they were on Game Pass, and I still had a working Xbox at the time, and I had a lot of fun with it. Like when I actually approach Metal Slug as Metal Slug, I enjoy Metal Slug. It's once again the thing of like the thing that I always get back to it with series where like this isn't what I wanted out of this series. I didn't want Contra to play like Metal Slug. I already have Metal Slug for that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess that's mine. I could talk about Street Fighter 2 and how that shaped what I want out of games, but I actually don't fucking know.
Yeah, that's a interesting question. That'd almost be like an FGA question, though. Well,
Yeah.
what's your earliest fighting game memory that you would define it? And then, even then, I don't think we would really get into mechanics. Honestly, when you're younger, game mechanics don't necessarily matter so much.
Yeah. Yeah, one of the earliest things I remember about Street Fighter 2 is being really pissed that my grandma beat me with lightning legs.
Yeah. Take that, Sonny. I appreciate. I love the contrast of like we just had Pink talking about his mom worried about video games or the devil, and me talking about my great grandma who's rattling off races against the Japanese. And he's over here. My grandma kicked my fucking ass in Street Fighter.
No, like in a sense, I deserved it because I forced her to play Street Fighter. She didn't want to. I forced her to play Street Fighter, and then she did nothing but wait for me to approach and then did lightning legs.
See, that's good strategy.
Yeah.
I'm reminded of there is a website called Drunk Text from Last Night or whatever that is a collection of where people send in drunk text, screenshots of them getting drunk texted or drunk texting someone else, or rather hangover texting, really. Though I guess some of them were drunk texts. And presumably a lot of them are made up, naturally. Whenever you have this kind of site, part of it's going to be staged.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, I did look over it once, and one of my absolute favorites will always be one person texting, Man, my jaw still hurts. Why'd your grandma have to punch me so hard last night? And the other person responding, Well, maybe she wouldn't have hit you so hard if you hadn't called her this bitch. Oh boy.
But yeah, I guess with fighting games like Street Fighter shape what I want out of a game in the sense that it really got me into fighting games. Technically.
Yeah.
Which by the way, like it still hasn't.
And you're younger than either of us, but you've got the oldest fighting game that got you in.
Yeah.
That's just kind of funny, isn't it?
I mean, that's most games though. Like I had an NES until I got a PS2 in like, when was it? 2008 or 9 is when I got a PS2. Later. No, I'm super wrong. I got a PS2 in like 2010. Yeah.
Lord.
Yeah, I got a PS2 in 2010. Until then, all I played was NES, and after my NES broke and they stopped the people importing it from China stopped selling Famiclones. All I played were like demos on PC, which is why my knowledge is like NES games, old SPC games that I had demo discs of, and then some PS.
Oh, demo discs alone, that is an ancient phrase.
Yeah. Because like I had a full copy of Magic Boy on the PC, and then I had a bunch of demo discs. Which, have either of you seen Magic Boy on the PC?
I've never heard of this game before in my life. Magic
Boy is a platformer. It's a puzzle platformer. No, I don't even know what to really call it, but it's a collection platformer. I guess that's the best way I can put it. Where you're supposed to go around hitting all of the enemies with magic and then picking them up into your bag and depositing them into a place to leave the level.
Wait a second, is this Noah's Ark?
Not as far as I know.
Because have you ever seen the AVGN Bible Games episode?
Yes.
Okay, this is reminding me of Noah's Ark.
Wasn't Noah's Ark a side-scrolling platformer?
Well, the goal was there was a big screen, and it's like, okay, gather 2 of every animal to complete the level.
Okay, well, Magic Boy was a vertical
Which is actually a pretty creative Bible game idea, I have to say.
Yeah. Magic Boy was a vertical scrolling platformer. It was like Doodle Jump, but you could go down without dying.
Yeah, I don't have as good a knowledge for vertical platformers. I'm aware of Ice Climbers.
Yeah. Oh, I played a lot of Ice Climbers too. People shouldn't.
Yeah, I only really played Ice Climbers.
Yeah.
I only really played Ice Climbers for the first time like a month ago. That game seemed oddly easy for an NES game.
It's not quite as easy when you're when it's two of you trying to play at the same time, because if memory serves,
Oh,
there's a slowdown whenever someone jumps.
yeah, there very much is, even in single player. But
Yeah,
yeah,
so
that would be a problem. Yeah, because the NES could not handle more than 5 pixels on screen at once.
yeah, and so
Once that 6th pixel comes on, the NES is like, I lived a good life.
but yeah, playing that with my siblings, it was basically a game of yelling at each other because we can't jump right now because the other one is jumping. Although nothing will ever beat the Jungle Book on the NES, which I will keep harping on about. The Jungle Book on the NES is one of the worst games I've played. It is horrid.
You sometimes make it sound like it killed somebody.
It might have.
Good lord.
There are,
No!
I mean, I'm just gonna I'll let you judge the quality of it. There is one of the levels, one of the earliest levels. I think it's level 2. In level 2, if you wait long enough, as in if you take too long to complete the level, because the levels in this game are not linear, they're it's also a collection platformer where you have to find fruit, and you need the right amount of fruit before you can continue the level. So if you don't find the fruit that's hidden in the level in the allotted time, then you cannot complete the level. As in, the platforms cease being.
What?
One of the major elements of that level is that the elephants are marching. And if it takes you too long to complete the level, which by the way, like, there is a time limit. So technically, it shouldn't take you too long to complete the level because they have an exact definition of what too long is. But I digress. If you take too long to complete the level, the elephants just fuck off, and you cannot go between the actual fixed platforms because you're supposed to jump on the elephants' backs.
I see.
So if you take too long, if you're not speedrunning that level, then you actually just cannot complete that level at all.
Amazing.
And I got as far as level 5 with call it, with rewind or on an emulator years later. Level 5 does this again. So yeah, that's the quality of the Jungle Book on the NES.
Sounds good.
Yeah. But yeah, like technically, I've been getting consoles very fast compared to having an NES when I was born, and then getting PS2 in 2010. I was like, I got on Xbox 360 in 2013, and then got on Xbox One in like 2015. Then a PS4 in 20, what would it be? I think 2018 or so. 2018, because that's when we started playing through Yukiden.
For a second, I thought you were gonna say 20 what?
Yeah.
Like you're looking at a board you've set up, and you're looking at your own numbers. I don't know. I'm creating weird scenarios in my head. I need to shut up.
But yeah, so technically, being like 4 years late on the PS5 isn't out of schedule.
Whew.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I get it. I was relatively early on the PS5. I had to put a lot of work in on it, and I have not really used it for much, to be honest. And
Yeah.
comparatively, I remember as a kid, the Xbox 360. That one, that one came out in what 2006, and I got that one around like late 2010, early 2011 myself. So I was about on. You said 5 years, right?
Uh, yeah. The 360 I got in 2013, I think.
Yeah, so both a little bit behind on that one. Pink, when did you get into the that was 7th gen, right? 7th, yeah,
So,
7th.
uh, that's an excellent question. I have never owned an Xbox 360, and I didn't get a PS2, which was a generation before, until 2009.
Who?
Yeah. The PS2 was quite ubiquitous as a child, but I never personally owned one until I picked one up at a yard sale. At the point where it was no longer relevant, and I at the very least it had a lot of good
Try
wrestling
telling
games
that to
on it.
South America.
Right. They still got FIFAs coming out on that.
No, they still got new
Oh,
GTAs
brother.
coming down on that, dude.
Oh, yeah.
There's a Rockstar is not making any progress on GTA 6 because they keep releasing like Brazil exclusive GTAs every week.
Man, it's crazy. And for some reason, they all speak Russian.
Yeah.
It's the damnedest thing.
And how did they get the
Now,
Dragon Ball license?
it's a good question.
Do not doubt the copyright wizards at Rockstar.
True.
I would have gotten the PS3 around 2012, I want to say. It would have been really late 2011 or early 2012 because I know that WWE 12 was the first next gen at that point wrestling game I had on it.
12. Okay, 12. Really?
Yes.
So how big of a jump was there?
Going from the Wii to the PS3, there was a massive jump.
Oh man, I mean, not in terms of quality, because I also made the jump from Wii to Xbox 360. So that, trust me, I know the quality jump on that one. Was there a specific game you got the PS3 for?
uh, to say yes would I don't remember if it was I specifically got the PS3 for this, but I really wanted the Uncharted series. That was what ultimately made me make the decision between the PS3 and Xbox 360 to choose the PS3 cuz I had as my voice is blown out right now. I had no real preference or stake in the quote unquote race war. Well, that's a terrible sentence.
Yeah,
It
In the
begins
many of
now.
console
them
war.
do act like that, though.
Yeah. So I had no stake in the console war. Um, but I was interested in Uncharted and interested in the Infamous series. And so
Those
because
are the
that
two
was
there. Oh boy.
yeah, that because those were two exclusives for the PS3 and I couldn't think of anything on the Xbox 360 that was exclusive. I ultimately bought the PS3 over the 360. And I think it was a decent enough choice. I think I got a lot of use out of those two franchises.
Yeah. And Addy, when you made the upgrade to the 7th gen, was there a particular game you were looking for?
No, what happened with me was one of the actors in the movie actually got me on Xbox 360 because we weren't sure if we'd get the credit, so she got it out on credit for me, and then we just paid her the installments. And
Oh, all right.
yeah, uh, but yeah, well, what happened there is she has a nephew, I believe, who had an Xbox 360 at the time. I visited, and and you know he showed me how it works and shit. We played some games. I forget what. He was definitely playing Skyrim when I went in because I was like, I know this game. I don't know what it is, but I know this game.
Hmm.
And then years later, I watched a video of Skyrim and I went, oh, I know now.
I get it.
Yeah. But yeah, so that and then that was like because we were thinking about getting an upgrade, and everyone I watched was playing on Xbox, so I was looking mostly into Xbox, and then like a couple of weeks into just thinking of like not even saving up for, just thinking about something to save up for it, or convincing my mom to save up for it rather. The her friend who also starred in the movie, she just shows up with the Xbox in her car because her nephew picked out what version of the Xbox she should get for me.
Ha! That's
It,
nice.
yeah, it came with Forza 4 and Gears of War 3.
That okay. I know you'll disagree with me, but that's a solid selection there.
Yeah, I played Gears of War for like an hour, and then I went, huh. And then I don't remember what it was. Oh yeah, I know now. I think his birthday was coming up or something like that. So I was like, hey, he was talking about Gears while I was there. So whatever, you can just have it. And
Yeah.
so what happened is we traded games because he was so happy about Gears that he gave me some of the games he didn't want anymore for 360, which is how I played Mirror's Edge. So I won in that trade. Having played through Gears 3 years later, I believe I won in that trade. Yes.
Well, you clearly you didn't see the number one feature of Gears 3.
The brown.
No, the giant golden chicken boss.
Ah yes. But yeah, I got like Mirror's Edge. I got this like tactical shooter game, which should tell you about the guy. It was yeah.
I appreciate that Addy there, that Addy moment there of he didn't even ask me about the golden chicken boss.
No, I know of it.
Oh, you don't? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because I did not find out about the golden chicken boss until years after I'd beaten that game.
I knew of the golden chicken boss, but I didn't summon it because I didn't remember how to. I didn't really care while I was playing it.
It's really simple, isn't it? You just shoot into a foghorn.
I think it's a thing of like you have to continue fire into the foghorn for like half a minute or something like that. And there's like three
Oh,
foghorns,
yeah.
and there's like three foghorns next to each other. So
I could have swore it was just one, but you probably remember it better than I do.
I don't know. Either which way, yeah, like but my reasons for upgrade there weren't really any reasons. My reasons for upgrading to the Xbox One even was just like, well, I own Assassin's Creed on the 360. No, it genuinely was like, I have games on the 360. I guess I'll just stick with Xbox. And then I got a PS4,
Yeah.
and the Xbox died. So yeah, like genuinely, my what's the word? Like my ideal being is to just have whatever the fuck. Like I don't really care about Xbox or PlayStation. I want PlayStation for the exclusives, and I wouldn't mind access to my Xbox to my Xbox library. So like,
Yeah.
if I have to choose, I'll go with PlayStation just because that's where fighting games are generally.
Yeah.
But other than that, like, I don't really have a preference. If I had the millions and millions of dollars that they want me to possess to actually like get in, I wouldn't even mind getting a Switch. But as I keep saying, Hungary wasn't supported last time I bought a Nintendo console. So
We have banned Hungary. Official Nintendo statement.
no, that's the weird thing. They have a Hungarian like website where it's all completely like properly
They
translated.
do, but they specifically went and translated it for the Hungarian language to just simply say, Like, be a big middle finger, and it just says "fuck off."
Yeah. But yeah, like they have this whole like proper website set up, like they have a presence in the country, but at the same time you can't use the eShop.
What would you use that for? Stupid.
And like the last console, the last Nintendo console that I owned was on 3DS, and most of the games I wanted on the 3DS were on the eShop. I had to make a British account so that I could even see the eShop and download demos. So
That's messed up.
yeah. So yeah, that's my thing for not really liking Nintendo these days, because like once again, like I have the nostalgia for like the NES, and I have some nostalgia for like some of the later systems because I played Game Boy games and whatever, but it's never like first party IPs that I have nostalgia for. It's just it made the systems that those were on, and then recently when I tried getting back in and giving them a shot, I've just been told to fuck off and pay up in that order. So
Leave and then also throw your money backwards at us.
yeah, because like there are a couple of Nintendo games that I wouldn't mind trying now. Like Smash Ultimate would be fun if just to record it once. Fucking Twilight Princess if they released the re-release that was on the Wii U on the Switch.
Yeah.
That honestly might be it. I don't know. Nintendo's first party games just don't interest me all that much.
Eh.
But yeah, W, what was your reasoning for getting the 360 over the PS3, I guess?
The 360 over the PS3. I chose 360 over PS3 because my cousin had a 360. At the time, we were like, "Oh, Alex and his cousin can play all the games together." But naturally, for one thing, my cousin he's a big the esports guy. He's not always necessarily fully been that way, but he's kind of always been a little bit that way, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And I think I was a little bit of a goober. I was a little bit of a weird kid back then, so he didn't really want all that much to do with me, right?
Sure.
So that never really happened. And in the end, I did end up regretting that we went with the Xbox, as I'm mostly a PlayStation guy. I grew up with the PlayStation licenses. I grew up with, Jack and Dexter and Ratchet and Clank, which admittedly those franchises would mostly go on to die in that generation, but still. So yeah, the decision was made to go with the Xbox 360 instead because it was thought like, oh, we can use this to connect with the family. Speaking of the Kinect, was a thing we purchased. Also, yet again, the fitness trap.
Yeah.
No.
And, always, baby. Yeah, we the Kinect was another thing we tried, and I remember we got that on day one. Well, no, not day one. Excuse me. On Christmas Day, and on Christmas Day, the first day of owning the Kinect, we did use it at one point because the Kinect came with a camera that you could use to perform video calls. We did use that to video call with my cousin and my dad's sister and yada yada, and that was fun for a minute. We never did that shit again, but nonetheless, that was I think the only thing with the Kinect I unambiguously thought was cool. Never mind the fact that by that point in time, people already had that shit on their phones.
I thought you were gonna say like on the first day of the Kinect, you tried to play it, but you were too black.
I don't know why I would say that. I do get the reference, but I don't know why I would say that. I'm black now.
Yeah. I mean, we did do those tests. You were like 75% black or something like that.
Right, where it tries to guess your race based on your answers to questions. Yeah, that was an interesting test, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was a response to political questions, right?
Right.
And for me, it was like, you're black, you're definitely black. And then for you and Soon, it was kind of like, maybe somewhere in the middle. Pink, it's distinctively, you, sir, are extra white. Here's your jar of mayonnaise.
I am the jar of mayonnaise.
For me and Soon, it wasn't even like, oh, you're in the middle. It was like, you're most likely black. It just wasn't completely sure, but it was close to being sure.
Yeah. Well, Pink, that's the nature of the podcast now. You're the token white guy.
Yeah.
We needed some white guys representation in here.
Yes.
Yeah.
I keep hoarding all of the other ones, so
Bit too much color going on here. Oh, right
yeah.
then.
I guess going back to
But you know what the funny thing?
Go ahead.
Oh no, you know what? I'm pretty sure I've said probably 1,000 times why I actually got the Xbox, why the upgrade was made.
I'm not sure.
Transformers War for Cybertron.
Oh right.
Yeah, I am almost certain I've mentioned that before. Because to be honest, I still think that game is really cool, but it's Activision, right? Activision's terrible with their licenses.
Yeah.
So good luck getting yourself a copy nowadays.
Oh yeah.
You know, now that we're talking about like getting consoles for specific games, I'm pretty sure the only console that I got for a specific game was the PS4 for Ghost of Tsushima. So
yeah, that one wound up working. That's an investment that paid off.
Yeah. Like even
that is one big game expectation that very much lived up to the lived up, you know?
Yeah. Like technically, you could argue that I got the DS for Pokemon X because that's the only game. That's the only full game I owned on it. But I didn't expect it. Like I didn't expect going into it. I need a DS so I can play Pokemon X. It was there's a 3DS bundled in with Pokemon X. I guess I'll get that.
I think I've partly mentioned this. I can never go into detail because it's personal information for someone other than myself.
Yeah.
But we had a 3DS growing up that was given to us by a hospital, a children's hospital.
Ah.
And that one was a very strange circumstance.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, it was a bad time, so it was actually pretty neat to it was a rough time, kid. Here's a game console. But that's so strange also to talk about we had a Nintendo 3DS because the doctor gave it to us. Well, actually, it was a charity that was running through the hospital, but you get the idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Either which way, sounds like we've went ahead and hit that topic pretty hard.
Yeah.
We've bludgeoned it ruthlessly.
Viciously.
I don't know about you guys.
Mercy.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm hoping there are no witnesses. I can't survive in prison. And I believe that now would be a good time to go ahead and call it. Partly because I can hear Pink's voice dying, and also I am desperately in need of a bathroom trip.
All right.
Pizza was consumed earlier, and it is desired to make its exit.
Oh.
Was that a awe of sympathy for my pain, or a awe of envy for the pizza?
A little of both.
It was actually pretty wild. It's a little place. It was called Chicago's, and it's Chicago style, but the gentleman running it, it's a little Sikh family running it, family-owned joint. So there's they also put in a lot of Indian influence on the pizza. And there's bits of heavy cinnamon and garlic in parts, and it works out very well.
Mm.
Yeah, I didn't know that going in, so when we ordered pizzas, I just went with, I don't know, go with a basic yada yada yada. But we did think it was weird going in. Butter chicken pizza, tikka masala pizza.
Right.
It was good though, so next time we go back, I'm getting myself a tikka masala or butter chicken pizza. You better believe it.
Nice.
All right, Addy. You know what, Addy? It's a new day. You don't say bye, Addy. Say salutations.
Top of the morning to it, beautiful people.
Oh no!